Before I started my weight loss journey in April of 2020, I really thought that I had to give up a bunch of things that I enjoyed and lived an extremely restrictive diet type lifestyle if I wanted to have success. But a lot changed for me in 2020 when I finally realized that it wasn't about sticking to a diet, but instead creating a balanced lifestyle that was actually sustainable in the long run and that I could actually keep up with. So today I'm gonna be sharing 9 different ways that I have balance on my weight loss journey and just giving some examples of how I find balance to stay on track without giving up everything that I enjoy, but also still hitting my goals. So if you enjoy this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get started talking about balance. I feel like it's something that you hear all the time. Balance is key. You need to find balance. Like, people throw that phrase around all the time, but I never really thought about what it meant. Today, I'm going to be explaining in more detail what balance means to me specifically on my journey. And again, this is mostly related to my weight loss journey and just my different health and wellness habits that I've adopted over the years to just live a longer and healthier lifestyle. Starting with number 1. So the first way that I have balance on my weight loss and health journey is that I find substitutes for some higher point or higher calorie, higher sugar options that I've enjoyed in the past. And I incorporate those so that I can still have those cravings satisfied and still feel full and nourished, but not always having to consume that many calories or grams of sugar, like I said. But because I find those substitutes, that doesn't mean that I cut the other things out. I still like to have those in moderation from time to time. The balance that I have is having the substitutes most of the time and throughout the week when I'm really trying to stay on track with my goals. But then I do also enjoy the regular thing in moderation from time to time as well. So an example of that may be that at home, one of my favorite meals from like a takeout place is the barbecue mac and cheese. It's like barbecue pulled pork from Noodles and Company, and it's 40 points on Weight Watchers for that dish, but I honestly crave it all the time. And in order to satisfy that craving, sometimes I just have to make it at home and make a lightened up copycat version where I'm using protein pasta instead of the pasta that they use. It helps me get a little bit more protein and fiber in, and it's again just lower points so I can stay within my point goal for the day. I control the cheese that I put in, the milk, and again, I like to use my skim Fairlife milk, whereas at Noodles, they're probably using full fat milk, which again is fine in moderation. But when I'm craving it all the time, sometimes it's nice to just be able to make the lightened up copycat version that I make for like 10 points at home instead of always having that 40 point Noodles and Company dish. And I don't cut it out, like I said, I enjoy it from time to time, but having both of those options is how I've found a balance and not felt restricted on my weight loss journey. The next thing that I do to have balance on my journey, and I've talked about how I waited a little bit to incorporate exercise, but it is still something that really is essential for your health and future and well-being overall. And I knew that it was something I wanted to incorporate. I have a video where I talk about how I lost 50 pounds in 5 months without exercise. So I can link the video where I talk about how I did it based mostly on nutrition within the first 5 months to lose 50 pounds. But then I knew that I wanted to start incorporating exercise. In the past, I just had a negative mindset with trying to like earn food by working out. So that's just why I did that. But exercise is really important. And the way that I have balance with it on my weight loss and just health journey is that I find exercises and workouts that I actually enjoy because it gets me to look forward to them and it helps me to stay consistent that way when I'm excited to go to the gym to lift weights and do the exercises I actually want to do, or when I go outside and rollerblade because I'm looking forward to rollerblading. It's just really enjoyable for me. That's something that makes me look forward to moving and helps me stay consistent with it. But I also do challenge myself to new things every now and then because it helps me to make more progress. If I just focused on only rollerblading, I wouldn't be building the muscle I am when I go to the gym. And I've recently started to incorporate just sprinting 1 day a week. I go to my local track and I do it for like 30 minutes. I do a really quick warm up and I do about 7 sprints. So I just start at the line, sprint down, and then I walk back, take a little bit of a quick rest, and then I do another sprint as fast as I can, walk back down. And to be honest, it kind of gives me flashbacks to when I played volleyball in college and just back in the days of just like workouts like that I honestly didn't like. They made me really anxious and I always felt really stressed about them because I just wasn't the best at running. But there are so many good benefits to it, and sprint training specifically is what I want to focus on just to help my cardiovascular and things like that. So it is something that it's a challenge for me to try something new, but in order to have balance with my exercise and just wellness journey, it's important to challenge myself to new things every once in a while. I have balance by by going to the gym, going rollerblading, doing the things I'm comfortable with that I really enjoy. And then I also push myself out of my comfort zone to try some different things. Honestly, even stretching is something that I don't enjoy, but I know how important it is. And so I have balance by maybe I get to go do my skate, but I have to do my stretches for 5 minutes after, and that's how I have balance. Okay, the next way that I have balance on my journey is when it comes to things like vacation and stuff. A lot of the times I will stop tracking for the week that I'm on vacation or something, but that doesn't mean that I just throw all my healthy habits out. So even though it's vacation and I want to relax and everything, certain things just make me feel better, like staying hydrated or eating enough protein. And so I still prioritize those things on vacation, or if we have an event or a family gathering or something, I still prioritize staying hydrated that day, but I don't pause my life for those things. I don't not go on vacation because I'm trying to lose weight, or I don't not go to a family event because there's going to be food there and I don't want to get off track. I try to have balance by sticking to my habits that make me feel good and then still enjoying the moment, enjoying the food there in moderation, of course, but it's always just helpful to have that mindset where I don't have to feel like in order to have a vacation or something, I have to just throw all my habits out the door and not drink water, get sleep, like those things. Even exercising and staying active on vacation is something that I prioritize because, again, it makes me feel good. Even if it's just like an extra walk or something to the beach or whatever I need to do to stay on track with those little habits that make me feel better, I also still enjoy the vacation. I don't pause my life for my healthy habits. That's where I have a balance, and sometimes it is hard. Like I said, when you go on vacation and you kind of just want to forget about everything, but it is important for me to still prioritize the things that make me feel good so that I can even enjoy the vacation to the best of my ability. Okay, the next thing that helps me to have balance on my wellness and health journey is by prioritizing protein and fiber when it comes to meals, but not cutting out foods so that I can have those things. So when I talk about even like building meals and how I decide what I'm gonna be eating a lot of the time, what I do is I go in the kitchen and I look at what 0-point foods I have, which if you don't know what Weight Watchers 0-point foods are, they're mostly vegetables, fruits, proteins, things like that that really help me to hit my protein and fiber goals. So what I do is I like to build my meals around those. I'll pick like a chicken and then maybe some veggie mix and some lettuce, and maybe if I'm making a bowl or something, maybe I have some fresh salsas, but then I still incorporate the foods that have points and that maybe aren't always considered the healthiest or what people try to cut out when they think about a diet. And that includes things like dressing or cheese or pasta, bread, those types of things, even rice if I'm making a rice bowl. A lot of the times when it comes to dieting or losing weight, people will just cut out carbs, they'll cut out certain food groups, and they'll only prioritize the protein and those things. But it is so important, especially for the long run, to have balance with your nutrients. And it's important to get all the nutrients that you need, and that comes from different foods that aren't just the proteins and veggies. I always start with those things when it comes to building my meal because I want to prioritize them, but I don't cut out the other stuff. I still add in the cheese sauce if I want it on my taco bowl, or if I'm making grilled chicken and a salad, I'll still make some pasta with it because it's all about incorporating all of those nutrients. And it just helps me to think about it that way, to like prioritize the important things that keep me on track with my goal, but not cut out any of the others and still incorporate them in. It's just, I always do those second. And that's even how it helps me to like track my meals and stuff like that. I pick all the 0-point stuff and then I just have to track the couple extra things that I add, like a sauce or something. Okay, another thing that helps me, and this is something I've actually prioritized more recently, but it's a way that I have balance, and that is just setting a step goal for myself each day, but then still giving myself rest when I need it. So I have been really trying to at least hit 10,000 steps every day. There are some days where I don't hit it. It's not the end of the world if I don't, but it's something that, again, I prioritize, I think about, and I try to make efforts to actually hit my goal of 10,000 steps a day. But there are some days where I just need the rest. Maybe I had a really good workout the day before, or honestly, even more recently with the car accident I was in, I just needed to take some extra rest for my body and my mind and everything. And I tell myself that it's okay. I remind myself that that's how I have balance. I still prioritize movement, getting to the gym, getting my 10,000 steps a day, but I also listen to my body when I need to, and I don't overdo it because that's just gonna be way more harmful for me. And it's gonna lead to burnout, which then doesn't lead to sustainable results. And this whole thing with balance is that you want sustainability. You You want these results for the long run. And I feel like I've really incorporated all of these things, and that is why I honestly feel like I haven't fallen off the wagon, as people may say. I started my weight loss in April 2020. I lost 70 pounds in a year, and then since then I've been maintaining that loss and continuing to build muscle and burn fat, and I haven't ever really felt like I've completely lost the way of where I was going. And the reason for that is, and of course I'm human, I have many times where I'm struggling, I don't have motivation, I'm not saying that at all, but I haven't changed this lifestyle. I've stuck to the same habits throughout the past 5 years, and it's because it's just my day-to-day. It's what I enjoy. It's what I've built for myself, having balance. And so that's why I really want to get this point across with this, is that the importance of balance is making it sustainable for the long run. You want to make it realistic. And when it comes to cutting things out or causing yourself to burn out, that is when I, especially in the past, would resort to my old ways and then just go further back. And it would just always be like a step forward, 3 steps back, because I was just doing too much. And I had to realize that a balance is what keeps me going. And that's what I've done for the past few years. That's also why I'm sharing this and why it's just so important when it comes to sustainability. But anyway, the next thing that I do is that I track my numbers to stay accountable, but I don't let those numbers define me. In the beginning of my weight loss journey, I was weighing in every week. And since then, I've definitely slowed down. And I've mentioned it on my channel. As I've continued to build muscle and burn fat, the scale will fluctuate and go up, but I will still look more toned than before. And that's where things like progress pictures and stuff like that really helps me. But that doesn't mean that I don't weigh myself anymore. I still do every once in a while, just to track my progress, hold myself accountable, and kind of see that I'm at least in the general area that I'm trying to be in. And again, the pictures help me a lot with that too. But when it comes to holding yourself accountable, it's not bad to want to track your food or weigh out your portions or even weigh yourself on the scale every once in a while. But it's very important to remind yourself that you can't let those numbers define you or your progress. Because if I stepped on the scale like I did this morning and saw that it was up, but then I looked in the mirror and I saw the progress that I've made, if I would have stopped because of the scale and let it control me and bring me down the way that it had in the past, I would have just gone further back. But instead, I decided to focus on the progress that I've continued to make, and it kept me motivated. It reminded me that I am making progress, even if the scale doesn't show it. When it comes to numbers and tracking with this journey and holding yourself accountable, it is okay to want to track or want to know how many calories you're eating in a day. Sometimes even when I share my content, I get people telling me that it's harmful because I'm sharing calories or I'm sharing information. And for me, it's just giving the information. And again, you can't let it define you. You just have to take it with a grain of salt and use it as a tool, not so much defining your progress. I hope that makes sense, because I am kind of in the middle with it. I like to have my numbers and know where I'm at, but I don't like to let them get in my mind and control me. So there's a nice balance when it comes to that, and I think it's important to find that. But don't be afraid if you want to measure out your food. I know that some people get worried about even feeling like they have to do that for the rest of their life. And to be honest, I even thought that when I started tracking with Weight Watchers. I was like, is this just what it's going to always be? I have to track every meal. And I'm at the point now where I feel much more comfortable. I still track things and I still have my meals. I do points and everything, and it does help me, but I don't need it to stay on track with my healthy goals, because I've just created this healthy lifestyle that works for me. Okay, the next thing that I do with my weight loss journey to have balance is that I'm mindful about what I eat. So what I mean by that is, in the past, I would snack without even thinking about it. I have mentioned that my job at a bakery was very easy for me to just go in the back and mindlessly snack. And that was something that I really had to start paying attention to. I also just had to be mindful about what types of foods I was eating, looking at nutrition labels, looking at ingredients in them, because honestly, that was how I was going to learn how to fuel my body. But while I was doing that, and in the process of doing this throughout my journey and learning what foods are healthy for me and what's going to help me achieve my goals, I never label foods as good or bad, because to me, that's just created a really unhealthy relationship in my mind with food. And it's important for me to just look at all foods as food, and then some of them maybe have some better benefits for me, and then others are maybe more for my enjoyment or to make the meal taste better. And there's nothing good, nothing bad. I just am mindful about what I eat, with the portion sizes, with the amount of times I'm eating those things. It's more just being mindful about it. Instead of labeling things as good or bad, I'm more so just thinking about, do I really want this right now? Or am I really hungry? Maybe I just need some water. Or maybe if I'm hungry, I'll have something that has some protein in it first. And then if I'm still hungry, I'll have the treat after that I'm actually craving, but maybe I wasn't even craving it. And like I said, I realized when I was working that job how many times I would just like walk by and eat the thing and I wouldn't even think about what I was doing. It was just because it was there. And I've had to become more mindful about that, but it's really helped me in the long run to just have balance. And when I actually do want the food, it makes it even better. And I still allow myself to have it, but in moderation and not labeling them as good or bad. Then I kind of already mentioned this, but again, I just really want to make a point that it is helpful and it has helped me stay on track. And that is that I prioritize eating fruits and vegetables. I really like vegetables, and it's become a fun challenge to create different ways to incorporate veggies into all my meals. I really try to have a vegetable with each meal. But again, that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy a burger from time to time. And I feel like in the past, I thought that I just had to eat vegetables and chicken breast, and that was what was gonna get me results. I thought that I couldn't go off that track. And I have learned that I can do that. I can enjoy a burger every now and then. I can enjoy going out to eat, and I don't have to feel guilt about it. And I think having that healthier mindset has just overall been so freeing for me, because I know that I can have balance, enjoying fruits and veggies and proteins, but also a burger every now and then. So again, just going back to not ever having to cut out or restrict foods because you think that that's the way that it's supposed to be. And again, part of that was educating myself on what my body really needed to be able to be fueled, and realizing that I didn't have to cut out foods to have success. So I still prioritize fruits and veggies always, but I do enjoy a burger every now and then. Okay, and then the last thing that I do to have balance on my journey is that I focus on consistency over perfection. In the past, I used to think that I had to do everything perfectly. Kind of going back to the last one, how I said I thought it was just like veggies and chicken breasts that I had to eat. I thought that I had to be doing running every day, eating a very, very strict meal that didn't have any sugar or any of the foods that I enjoy in moderation. I had this idea in my head of what healthy and weight loss was, and it was perfection. And that couldn't be further from the truth, and I've learned that along the way. But what is most important is just staying consistent. And that's what's allowed me to have results over the years. Even when it comes to the gym, there are some days, even this morning actually, I struggled so hard to get there, and it wasn't my best workout, but I still made the effort to just get there and get it done. I was consistent because I knew that I needed to go work out. It was my time to go work out. And because I was consistent with it, even though it wasn't a perfect workout, I still made progress. I still got in there and got it done, and I felt good afterward. But it's just that reminder that it doesn't have to be perfect. Because a lot of the time too, I just would not even do it. I wouldn't go to the gym because I thought it wasn't going to be perfect. And then really I did myself worse by not going. And like if I would have just gone, I still would have made progress even if it wasn't a perfect workout. The same goes when it comes to meals. You don't have to have a perfect meal every time. With the accident, like I said, I've just been feeling extremely drained in the past few weeks, and it's gotten to the point where I just go in the kitchen and grab a couple things and try to throw a meal together, but it's better than nothing. I'm maybe doing the minimum of what I need to be doing, but it's helping me achieve my goals, and it's consistent. I'm not going back to my old ways where I would just not even pay attention to it and I would just get takeout for every meal. I'm still making that consistent effort to better myself, and that's where the results come in. That's where I've still been able to stay on track through all of this and through this hard time, because I've stuck to my routine. And even though it isn't perfect every day, or even if I'm not giving my all every day, I'm staying consistent with the things that make me feel good. So that is one of the biggest things, and I feel like it's one of the hardest things to do, is realize that you don't have to be perfect, and to stop letting that fear of perfection hold you back. Focus on just being consistent, and maybe reward yourself for consistency. I always talk about that, but it changed my life when I really did that, and that's how I was able to have success with my journey and have been able to over the years. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I just really think it's important to understand what balance is. Everyone always says, find your balance. Balance is key. But if you don't really think about what balance means and apply it to yourself, I feel like it just isn't helpful. So I hope this video kind of explained how I have balance on my journey, the way that I prioritize some things but still continue to enjoy others, and I just hope this was helpful. So if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.